monitoring what I'm doing on the work computer, sounding helicopter activity, flying directly over the office, P.O.C. And this is relevant to Yolanda Poon and also Maria Solis, Carla Lopez, of course, but Yolanda Poon on the venue of the internet while they're monitoring what I'm doing on the desktop computer with regard to what is harassment while I'm sent emails about which the entity already knows. This demonic entity derives pleasure out of, I guess, I would put it a group stalker, a demon-possessed person that suffers from some inferiority complex and is engaging what is demonic behaviors, also harassment as an entity. The simultaneity with which I am reviewing this, Yolanda Poon's going to federal prison. She's engaged in federal stalking, first of all, number one, on the venue of the internet. Any and everything that they are sending under the business of, under the guise of the business of speaker companies is serving stalking, federal stalking. Second of all, Maria Solis Alvarez is group stalking by maintaining presence in the path. She's also simultaneously engaged in harassment as an entity, okay? She's also group stalking. She's also engaged in federal stalking. They're acting in concert with LAPD that again flew over. This is the same LAPD you saw group stalking engaged in federal stalking this morning, flying in a circle with light activity and doing so with real-time knowledge also at that time with regard to what I was doing on my communication device inside of my private space, which is at the same property. This is, again, workplace terrorism, harassment, and sexual violence while they are engaged in monitoring the communication device that I'm using in the workplace. This is speaker companies. So the entity is targeting by virtue of its placement, flying directly over my head. Also targeting because it's with simultaneity of my conduct. So simultaneity with which Yolanda Poon is engaging in what is harassment. This is an entity knowledgeable and engaged in real-time surveillance of any and everything that's going on this computer. So asking me about something, first of all, that already exists. Second of all, that the entity already has knowledge of for purposes of engaging what is harassment. And as I'm discovering the information, again, through what is a prosecution, everything that's happening on this computer is evidence that belongs to the federal government. It belongs to me. Okay, it's ongoing criminal conduct. I show you emails, people who send emails, I'm documenting them. They're engaged in federal stalking. As I see your name scroll across the screen, you're group stalking. That's why the LAPD is flying over with simultaneity to what I'm doing on the communication device. They're engaged in federal stalking. All right, but just because I want to document this, Yolanda Poon is indeed going to federal prison. She's also simultaneously engaged in what is federal stalking and harassment as an entity because she is sending me an email requesting a PO number that already exists, and this third-party group stalker that's engaged in criminal surveillance, and this is terrorism, while the people of the state are facilitating it with real-time knowledge of what it is that she's requesting.
Here you go.
Oh, you don't need your heater anymore?
Selena's bringing me one.
Oh, okay, you sure? Because you said it was yours. I don't need it. Oh, okay, that's crossing path. That's P.O.C. The entity is, she's engaging in the elements of monitoring, and she's going to federal prison. She's monitoring with LAPD that's flying over, telling me that she's taking the heater, and then moments later she's bringing it back because she's monitoring, crossing path, creating activity, and doing so. She could have just walked in and said hi. Just understand that that's the elements of monitoring that you're seeing while she enters the office. The entity is, and that impunity, that's why she's going to federal prison, by the way. She's a sex offender engaging in the sex offense while I'm subject to surveillance inside of my private space. And then that same entity is also in relevant position monitoring you, group stalking you in the workplace, having real-time knowledge of your personal sex life. That's also why speaker companies and the people of the state are going to be prosecuted for what is, again, relevant to sexual violence by entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. Understand that that's the entity that's walking in the office. So I want to make sure that Yolanda Poon is, she's going to federal prison while you see that helicopter fly over my head. This is a PO number that already exists with regard to what is a monthly invoice. And I'm not going to go deep into the details, but it's relevant with regard to what is, she's sending an email, which is criminal conduct. The malicious guise under which she's creating an email pursuant to the business of speaker companies, which is a third party, not a legitimate business. State surveillance is underway here, and she's asking for a PO number regarding an invoice that is in the system. Not only is the invoice in the system speaking to that which I do not ordinarily need to create a PO number because it's a monthly bill, for example, that's already that's systematically transacted, if you will. In addition to that, for this particular addition of fees that's going to be billed to the company, there is already a PO number created, and this is already in the system, and the entity is also aware of that. The moment that I find this email with this PO number, which is the substance of the email that third-party group stalker Yolanda Poon sent regarding send an email. This is a demon. This is a third party that wants to communicate as though she is correcting me, as though she's telling me to do something regarding my job, regarding my job performance. I'm an attorney. Okay, I am overqualified. I remain overqualified at all times for this job as a property manager that does not even require a college degree. Okay, so it's a matter of understanding the duties. It's a matter of proper training. It's a matter of not trying to hide information by a bunch of demons who want to find something to speak to you about because they have inferiority complexes and they also have the spirit of Satan on them. So I want to be clear. They hate themselves and their lives and their existence. They hate the image that they look at in the mirror. This is why you engage in such satanic and psychotic conduct. And this fills, by the way, constitutes the people, the men and women of the Los Angeles Police Department who are group stalking with that entity. So just as an aside, just so that you understand that this is the entity that sends an email and puts it on the record, if you will. All of the entity, again, they entertain themselves with what are lies. And this is indeed a PO that I already created. Yolanda Poon is not ignorant about this. Okay, this PO is already in the system. This is the basis whereby the $117 monthly fee is going to be increased by $16, creating a total of what is $133. This is the invoice, which is, again, it's referenced as a recurring monthly service. You do not have to create POs for the monthly service that is provided to the property with regard to pest control. Okay, in addition to that, and this is all that the ordinary target individual, it's harassment that you would have to do. The ordinary target individual shouldn't have to do this. I'm prosecuting, and I'm going to go ahead and support everything that I'm letting you know what that they are engaging in. But you shouldn't have to go through all that just to go to work and do your job. In addition, the demons are group stalking with a corrupt law enforcement agency that's always flying over my head and engaging in what is psychotic conduct, flying in circles for prolonged periods of time at my very movement, anything that I'm engaging in inside of my apartment. Okay, and then you have an entity that is Maria Solis Alvarez. Oh, I want to take the heater from you because I think that's some passive aggressive manner of enforcing my authority. This is a demon. She's a sex offender. She's a psychotic demon possessed group stalker, and she is exhibiting what is passive aggressive hostility. That's what that's about. I was already hot. I don't care. You can take the heater. I'll order another one. You're here in my office now. I'm the resident manager, and she's exerting some sort of fictitious authority. You're not a real regional manager. You're a criminal who's group stalking, first of all. Second of all, you're engaging in what is activity creation. You're monitoring while you do that. But also, third of all, I want to be clear, it's relevant to what is harassment. Seeking to engage in and exercise some fictitious grounds of authority. She wants to take the heater because she thinks I'm just letting you know about the demon possessed in their mindset. And it's also criminal. I'm going to prosecute you for that. Not only are you harassing me and threatening my life while you're monitoring and coming and get the heater, her audible activity. Oh, well, it's actually my heater. And her office is in Duarte. She's a regional manager that's engaged in state terrorism. She's exercising fictitious authority. She's not a legitimate manager. She's engaged in criminal conduct, which is literally antithetical to her position as a regional manager. She's violating federal housing policy while she's group stalking and engaged in federal stalking on the video of the internet as a regional manager. Okay, she's a charlatan. She's a counterfeit. She's a psychopath. She's a group stalker. And I want to be clear, that's the significance relevant to what is harassment as well. I don't care whether you take the heater or not. I'm unaffected. They also send what are emails about my performance. It has nothing to do with my actual performance. In addition to that, this is something that's already resolved, and you're not ignorant of that. The entity is monitoring. Yolanda Poon cannot reasonably contend that she's ignorant. She's sending this email about that, which I do not even have to create a PO. It's a monthly service. But I want to be clear, they're group stalking. So there was already a PO that was created. And as I discover this, at the same time, the entity is flying over by helicopter. Let me be clear. While I'm documenting the people of the state that I know by name, Anthony Williams is going to federal prison. Anthony Juan Kennedy is going to federal prison. Eric Corey Spencer is going to federal prison. Tracy Lemire Banks is going to federal prison. And the people of the state, Ruth Hooper and Gregory Hooper, are going to federal prison. Lamar Simmons is going to federal prison. While I'm documenting the people of the state by name, those whose name I know have been providing an intolerable level of facilitation to the state that has been keeping me under surveillance, engaged in terrorism, group stalking me for years. The entity engages in what is obstruction of justice. That is group stalking in a matter that I can perceive, immediately arrives flying over this apartment building, 1800 and 1802, in relevant position to me with simultaneity to what I am doing on my communication device while I just so happen to be documenting federal group stalking and monitoring. Okay, that is the same targeting that's occurring in the workplace. And while you're witnessing impunity coming into my office, while you're witnessing impunity engaging in surveillance in the workplace, while you're witnessing impunity flying over my head in a helicopter, you're witnessing impunity via emails while they're continuously engaging in what is harassment. I'm going to reply to this email to the psychopath that's representing a third-party company whose pockets I'm going to drain. Speaker Companies is not going to survive. They're not going to survive civil and criminal prosecution. And they're also going to be known as a company as engaged in state surveillance. That's not going to be good for business. They will not survive civil and criminal prosecution. And of the company, I'm going to prosecute the company because that's what the company is doing. You're going to prosecute this demonic activity based on what these demons are doing. The ability to prosecute a company as being a sex offender. That's what the entity is doing, thinking it would never be known, thinking you could never prosecute for that, thinking you'll discard somebody for even trying to report it, and that all of that is a fallacy while they're believing the satanic spirit that is deceiving them. Okay? Every aspect of this crime is going to be prosecuted and articulated in a way that the world is going to understand, and they are going to respond accordingly because not everybody serves Satan, and there will be plenty of business lost when this is reported on the world scene. Okay? It's 11:15 a.m. where you're looking at that life-threatening criminal conduct that Mesrop is facilitating while you're looking at them engaging in the elements of monitoring, that Amazon Prime is facilitating while you're looking at the elements of monitoring, that Waste Management is facilitating while you are looking at the elements and listening to the elements of monitoring. As I'm naming commercial actors, the state is monitoring in concert with the people, okay, and also engaged in what is massive state surveillance. And I'm speaking to giving the substance, the details about what is harassment as an entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, okay, seeking to, yet failing, nonetheless being prosecuted for trying to harass an attorney, okay, for as a property manager, asking about that which you already know about, number one, and number two, it's already resolved. Number three, under no circumstances is it any genuine reflection of my performance as a property manager. Okay, it is currently, again, 11:15 a.m. This is P.O.C.